Picture this. 1932, the Australian outback. You've got soldiers, veterans of the Great War no less. They're armed to the teeth, not with rifles and grenades, but with Lewis machine guns. Their enemy? Not a foreign power, but a bunch of flightless birds. This, my friends, is the story of the Great Emu War. A conflict so bizarre, so utterly ridiculous, that it could only be real. Yes, you heard that right. Australia went to war with emus and lost. Now you might be thinking, emus? Really? What's so scary about a bunch of oversized chickens? Well, let me tell you, these ain't your grandma's barnyard birds. Emus are tough. They're big, standing almost 6 feet tall. They can't fly, sure, but they can run. And run they did, straight through fences, crops, and the occasional bewildered soldier. After World War I, Australia encouraged its veterans to take up farming, particularly wheat farming. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Except, nobody told the emus about the plan. They saw thousands of acres of delicious wheat and figured, let's dig in. And dig in they did. These birds went to town on the Australian countryside. Imagine you're a seasoned soldier, fresh from the trenches of Europe. You've faced down artillery barrages, mustard gas, the whole horrific lot. Now you're staring down a mob of feathered fiends hell-bent on devouring your livelihood. Talk about a bad case of enemy not found. I am so sorry, that joke was incredibly unfunny. Talk about a bad case of humor not found. Anyways, moving on, the farmers appealed to the government for help, and the government, in its infinite wisdom, decided the best course of action was to send in the troops, call in the big guns, literally. On one side, you have men with big-ass guns, and on the other side, you got big-ass birds. Why am I American again? What the hell? So, armed with Lewis guns, capable of firing 500 rounds per minute, the soldiers headed into battle. You'd think it would be a massacre, right? Well, not quite. Emus, it turns out, are surprisingly good at not getting hit by bullets. They're fast, they're agile, and they have this uncanny ability to absorb lead like it's birdseed. The first attempt at culling the emu population was a comical failure. The guns jammed, the emus scattered, and the soldiers looked on in bewildered frustration. It was like a scene out of a Monty Python sketch. Imagine, grown men in uniform outmaneuvered by birds. Wait, now I'm Australian again. What's going on here? Emus 1, Australia 0. Despite their best efforts, the soldiers couldn't make a dent in the emu population. The birds were winning, and the newspapers were having a field day. Headlines screamed about the emu menace and the Great Emu War. The world looked on, equal parts amused and baffled. After a few weeks of this avian-themed military campaign, the government decided to cut its losses. The soldiers retreated, defeated. The emus, after sending the humans running with their tail between their legs, were championed as heroes, getting all the baddie bird bitches. Wow, the Great Emu War was a PR disaster for the Australian government. It became a global laughingstock, a symbol of military incompetence and the absurdity of it all. But over time, the sting of defeat faded, replaced by a sense of amused bewilderment. The Great Emu War became a beloved piece of Australian folklore, a cautionary tale about underestimating your opponent, even if that opponent happens to be a bird. The underdogs. Or should I say underbirds? Good one, and why the fuck am I American again? Today, the Great Emu War is remembered with a wink and a nudge. It's a reminder that sometimes, no matter how well equipped or determined you are, life, much like an emu, will find a way to outsmart you. So the next time you're feeling overconfident, or you think you've got it all figured out, remember the emus. They may not have won any battles in the traditional sense, but they certainly won the war of attrition, proving once and for all that sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men, and even well-armed soldiers, often go awry. Thank you for watching this video and my slow mental decline. Hopefully you learned something or enjoyed it. If so, make sure to subscribe to History Hawk for more.